Click that thing.
And we're back to Quaramonte. We're back to clicking the thing. This time in South America.
Yeah, we have left. Where were we based?
Yes, we were in Paris and then Marseille. We fell in the sewer. Fell in the presumably River Liffey equivalent of Marseille.
Oh yes, yes.
To the extent we've had to change into our fucking vacation clothes.
It's market day.
Like those trousers are very warm.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't tactically. I think it's a bad call from Nico, but then again, she is now a playable character in this, so she might be thinking the long game and like getting something with pockets.
Yeah, that's ideal. Yes, you need pockets more so than you need breathing room on your legs.
100%, yeah. I mean, George, if anything, is taking liberties with his fucking shorts. You know what I mean? Like,
he's playing it too chill.
Do you have any theories
about this stone? Like, I don't know who he's trying to impress, really, but you know. Anyway, we're here now. So we're here in Quaramonte, the heavily fictional city in South America. Kind of again going based off the mythology of the game. You can probably kind of stick it around maybe Colombia, Peru, that type of area. Obviously, Peru is landlocked, but you can kind of extrapolate from there, like that kind of air part of the world, let's say.
Yeah.
So essentially we're here because this is where all the Bubier's artifacts have been coming through, and we're gonna basically see if there's a connection between all the Mayan stuff that's been happening and whatever situation that Nico found herself in. Now, I'm not sure why George is showing off all of his items to Nico now, even though they've just had like a fucking presumably 2-week boat ride to Quaramonte. They obviously had a lot of catching up to do, I suppose.
Or seasickness.
That could be it too, actually. Yeah.
Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could
I was like, is that a ghost of a dog in the background or a goat?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Tied up on the wall there. That is a goat.
Gourmet dog?
Okay, good. No ghost dogs. That's good.
No ghost dogs in this game.
The ghost of the dog that went swimming in that Thames. Not Thames.
Left Thames. Yes. No, I don't think. No. I do believe 20 did survive. Although we didn't get confirmation, but we did see him swimming around the dock when we fell in it. So we can only assume from there that the dog is safe and sound. So remember I told you that
most animals, but
that our lucky piece of coal is going to be the most important item in the game.
Yes.
Let's see what happens when we show our piece of coal to the goats.
Oh, what?
So, as you can see, perfectly normal goat. Absolutely no issue here whatsoever. Perfectly fine goat.
What was that? It's a lump of lucky coal. A coal?
A talking goat.
I would have preferred chocolate. Any flavor, so long as it hasn't got marzipan in it. God, I hate marzipan. You can talk. I mean, you're a talking goat. Keep your voice down. This is between
obviously you have some sort of playthrough that told you because there is no iteration I would have ever thought of to show the ghost the coal.
Yeah, so that's an Easter egg. That was that the guys developed into the game as a joke because of how infamous the goat puzzle was in the first game. So because the goat puzzle basically became a running joke in amongst like the adventure game genre for like years upon this. Like this is like the same way like the Sierra's deaths and like the LucasArts having little hat tips with other works and stuff like that. Emptying Monkey Island, for example. Revolution Software's equivalent was the goat. So they have contrived the goat to be designed in every game that they've done since. And it hilariously enough, like character wise, like George now has basically not a fear but an anxiety about goats. So even when they show up in some of the other games, he's basically like very nervous and won't interact with them. But there's always now a goat in a Broken Sword game.
Okay, now I genuinely had a fear that like we cannot continue the game until we get the goats and chocolate with marzipan.
No, no, no. That's just sure. That's purely an Easter egg. Like
It's like a
you can
little
probably
piece
tell
of
there
Oh,
that
okay.
right here
that's
on
George
the-
Stobart's voice actor
Right,
doing
you
a
want to
fucking
leave?
Jimmy Stewart impression.
Just
So
plain
like,
painful. Like it says in the
so that's
song.
all it is. It is
A
purely
word of
it's
warning,
purely a
senor.
gag. That's all it is.
If you
Okay,
feel
that
like
oh,
bursting
like
into
it is.
song, bite
I
your
am
tongue.
glad that they did it.
Huh?
I'm glad I
There
spotted
are
it
official
beforehand,
restrictions
even though
on
I
Yeah.
did think it was a
music in
ghost dog.
Quaramonte.
But that could just be the resolution on my computer.
How come music is restricted
But
in Quaramonte?
yeah, no, okay, no, I
Great cultural and racing
appreciate the
campaign.
Easter egg and look forward to
Traditional
finding out
Quaramonte
more in the
music is
Broken Sword
considered
series,
unsuitable
which
for these
undoubtedly we will do.
fast-moving times.
Yes. Well, that's
Senora,
entirely your show,
leave it
Burkbot. If you
over
want to
one
click or twist
category
at the end of this playthrough, you shall. We'll go from there.
Easy
But
listening.
but yes, this is one of I think I want to say 4 Easter eggs
We've had
in the
Okay.
game.
We're going back to the
And I find
Okay.
3 of the 4. I
Show
would have
me
been
your
able to do the
brown
4th
card.
one, but we'll cross our bridge when we
What
come to it because
brown
there's a story.
card
There
is
is a
that?
slight story behind
The
it.
official exit visa.
Okay.
So you might have there was a bit of a what the
It was
guard
the
mentioned
flint
there
statue
is
I'd
that
found in the
there seems to be a
warehouse
bit
in
of a
Marseille.
cultural shift happening in Quaramonte.
The
So
guy wasn't
Mhm.
showing much enthusiasm.
definitely
selling
not
the
some sort
wares.
of dictator in charge of Banana Republic shit going on here, you know?
Hi.
You want to buy something?
No, not really.
I got cabbages. Buy a cabbage, senor.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
Neil would love
I
this.
didn't come all this way to buy vegetables.
Yeah, this what
Listen,
cabbages remind him
heard
of his time in
condors
Quaramonte as a young boy.
No. Buy a cabbage. I'll give you a discount on both
Man of the
packages.
world and all that.
I'm not into cabbages.
I'm not into cabbages.
Have you ever seen
No.
anything like this before?
Aye, Tezcatlipoca. Put it away, senor. Tezcatlipoca brings nothing but evil.
The poor guy
Okay.
was so freaked he didn't even mention his cabbages.
So yeah, that's
See ya.
that's interesting. So that's the
It was
first
the
time
flint
we've
statue
actually
of Tezcatlipoca I found in Marseille.
identified what the statue actually is.
Yeah.
The guy wasn't showing much.
You change your mind.
He got over it,
Want
as
to
you can
buy
tell.
Cabbages after all. How many you want? 2? 3?
I mean, you gotta admire the hustle of this guy, right? Like he's obviously so desperate to make money that
wasn't gonna
even
be
though this
any
guy, as in this American tourist, is literally carrying around an evil token, he's still going, all right, I mean, you're cursed and everything that you touch is gonna be cursed, but would you like some cabbages anyway?
The man
Just
was puffing away at a crudely
Just to lighten the
rolled
mood.
cigar.
just to lighten the mood, yeah.
The frozen yogurt comes with free sprinkles.
The cabbage is also cursed.
Hi there. What have you got for sale?
¿Qué?
I said, what have you got? Oh, never.
So yes, a lot of the locals here are either intending to be good salespeople, or in this case, for your man, very
The
much
old
not.
woman was preparing a food that consisted of ground maize and lots of spittle.
So yeah, that's some homemade organic Quaramonte bread there that she's preparing.
Hi. Lovely bread.
¿Qué?
Bread. Pain?
Sí, pan.
Maybe I'll come back later when I'm hungry.
And we will never come back to her for that one.
The maize and spittle.
We are never hungry.
No, George has
The woman
suddenly
had an
developed
impressive
celiac
display of jewelry.
disease after seeing that. So
Those things are gourds, aren't they?
Sí.
Hey! What the footwear, lady?
yeah, look, quite a lot of spitting in Quaramonte. It's slightly disconcerting.
They're not afraid of any, what you call
Viruses.
them, like,
Swallow that crap.
yeah.
What I mean is, it can't be doing your business.
Well, obviously, the pandemic just never hit Quaramonte, or if it did, Quaramonte no longer exists.
Okay.
Turns out everyone got got COVID from eating the local bread.
The guy was selling
And let's be fair, they were
fish.
probably spit on the cabbages as well, just to add some garnish.
Do you have crabs? No.
That's where it originated from, the cabbages. They were
Yeah.
cursed.
Nice fish. Thanks. If by some remote chance
I'm
need a fish,
imagining
I'll
just
be
the
back.
fact that we're going around to all of these different foodstuffs And we're gonna have to make ingredients for
Do you
bits and
recognize the
pieces
statue?
and
Si, senor.
remember
Yeah,
a recipe.
Bad luck.
You like to think so, but no, actually, there's just a little bit of, this is just a bit of flavor, that's all.
I don't believe
Um,
it. Good or bad.
because Quaramonte is basically where the game opens up a little bit, much like
The guy looked scared.
much like in Paris, where like you basically like are left to your own devices once the kind of bomb hits in the cafe. So the game basically opens up at this point.
Right,
Now I should
okay,
also
yeah.
say as well that the Broken Sword 2 actually does come in with 2 discs.
Okay.
So
A
essentially
couple of musicians
the
watching
French
life
section of the
go on
game
around them.
and Quaramonte
Pretty
is disc
depressed.
1, and then everything beyond that is disc 2. Now obviously we're playing the digital version, so that's not an issue. But in the original, back in the olden days, you switch over to the disc after this level.
Okay. And would it be a case where you'd have to go back between the discs, or is it just continuous?
No, you're done once you're like. In fairness, like Broken Sword is very good like that, where like it won't let you advance until you do everything you need to do. So if you're missing an
Okay,
item
yeah.
or something, you do it does stop you. So yeah,
Swears he saw it happen once.
and I think you kind of have to consider in like, as I said, you're doing a disc swap, so like
Antibiotics.
you even physically can't, start off the second. Essentially, because you're playing essentially a second game mechanically, so
Yeah.
you can't start off the second stage without having everything you need for it. It's not a, it's not a case of like some of the old games where like you'd have to. I'm thinking actually like Ripper, for example, if we were playing it like as God intended, with the 6 CDs, that would be the case because all the areas are on the discs, so you'd have to change discs to go to that level, to that area.
I get carried around in my pocket.
Yeah,
if it wasn't.
so many things about Ripper. Like we played the easy version, and the fact that I would not have had the patience to keep switching between, which is just
Again, it's funny you say that.
Sorry for my hatred of Ripper there.
No, I totally understand. But like, it's only funny you should say that because at the moment we're playing the Blade Runner game on the bucket list with Casey and Nordy. And what's interesting is that again, that's a similar thing where I think it comes on either 5 or 7 discs. I think it's 5. Now again, I'm not sure whether it's because it's like area oriented or it's like the space of time in the game. But that'd be a similar job where like there's only so much space they had at the time, but they're making the game now, so you couldn't wait 5 years for the technology to get better. It was time to take the game out,
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah. Just it was just that weird, awkward era in video games where nothing really fucking worked.
Before he lost his legs.
I think like Ripper had a spiritual successor called the Black Dahlia, and I think that came on 4 CDs as well, and that was like a good couple of years after Ripper was made. But like that's even harder to actually get working because you had to rip it directly from the CD, like executive files and all. So like that's a notoriously bad fucking game to try and emulate.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
That sounds horrendous.
And
But also kind of a fun challenge.
Ironically enough, actually, it's probably the best game that studio made. Like before they got bought out by the likes of before they became publishers. Because I know Ripper was the second game that they made. The one before that was called Hell, and it looks fucking atrocious. It's really, really bad. And then the other game was called Black Dahlia. And the hilarious connective tissue is that Hell and the Black Dahlia both star Dennis Hopper. So there you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper was mad for the fucking video games.
The stairs led up to the balcony.
It's all just the future.
Now, Burkbot, who would have thunk that we would have seen a familiar face here in Quaramonte?
I know, our touristy friends.
Boy, this is something.
Yes, from Syria. I mean, you really couldn't miss Pearl and Dwayne in this game, could you?
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side.
I didn't. When you were talking to the band there, I was like, oh.
He was working for the CIA.
Yeah.
But wasn't sure. She was less obvious.
Obviously, yeah, you can see they're still on vacation.
Take a look at this news cutting, Pearl.
You'll have to read it to me, George. I left my specs in a gay bar in Santa Barbara.
Well, it's about an eclipse of the sun, which is due to occur in a few weeks' time.
So I think I mentioned this the first time, but the Hendersons are very much reoccurring characters in the Broken Sword series. One of the Hendersons, the Hendersons in some shape or form appears in, I think, 4 of the 5 Broken Sword games so far.
She didn't appear to be the slightest bit interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened to the other one?
Look at this, Pearl.
No idea.
Their
They just
vacation finally
Don't
came
you
to an
bring
end.
that thing anywhere near me, honey.
I think it probably was like a shift in the night thing where like maybe like wherever place we went to in Broken Sword in that game
What do you make of
that they
this
just
statue?
like they might just left like a couple of hours beforehand or something, you
You
know. Or fuck it, they might have been there and I just didn't never found them in that game.
He got
isn't
too distracted by the
intended for
goat.
frivolous personal
Yeah,
enjoyment, Pearl.
trying to find the
Dark,
goat in the
with
game. Yeah.
fast-acting, muscle-numbing poison.
There's completely aside, but Alfred Hitchcock, when the film, because he used to insert himself into the films, it became like the audience, like we're not paying attention to any of the dialogue or any of the hints being laid out in the scenes because they're looking for him.
Yeah.
So
What's that thing?
yeah,
supposed to be, a
he ended up
rabbit?
having to put his cameos earlier on into the
Well, it
the
sure is
films
cute.
so that people would stop looking for him then.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the case here, that they actually were in the opening credits and you didn't notice.
Just about anywhere.
Yeah, it's very likely. I mean, like we were on a couple of planes in that game, so maybe they're like you're like a couple of rows back or something, you know.
Role in the economy of the great design, George.
I love that there is always this constant discussion about like who the Hendersons actually are. Are they genuinely like bumbling American tourists, or is Dwayne Henderson actually a sleeper agent? Like, because by all accounts he isn't. Like, you know, like just he fails the eye test to be a CIA agent. But at the same token, that's what they want you to think. So, you know, which way do you go? Like,
Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
and it is quite interesting.
I like to think I'm on the he's a spy. I'm in
Yeah.
that camp.
Okay, fair.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they
Snoozer.
call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really
So
does.
basically, this guy like tricked himself so well that the CIA went, you know what? It's impressive that even we don't have to do the brainwashing anymore. These fucking idiots will do it themselves.
I recognized the woman immediately. Last time I'd
I mean, if that was the way they recruited agents and spies, I mean, that's ruthlessly efficient. It's like, let's use these people's terrible mental health against them.
I mean, I feel like that's what X is these days, or Twitter, for the same.
Oh, I feel, yeah, I just feel like there's just enough like weirdos on it that like, you know, they'll look themselves into a job in the US government mainly because they're just a massive lick arse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And hilarious enough, like when you see those kind of accounts, like bumping up, it is particularly sad because half of them are just Elon Musk talking to himself. You know,
Yeah.
it's like what a sad cunt he is.
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering.
Ooh, Elon.
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
So we heard when we were talking to the musicians that there was an accident at the mine,
Concha Garcia.
and their lead guitarist Miguel has been imprisoned for playing music that is not allowed anymore.
Okay. Quite authoritarian.
Yes, very much so. Yes, supposedly the powers that be in Quaramonte now want people to play and enjoy easy listening, as opposed to traditional Quaramonte music.
No, who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think
As someone who has been forced to listen to
Well, I hope you
easy
find him, but I've never
music
heard
the
the name
last
before.
little while, due to a particular set of ears in my household these days.
Yes.
Oh, if the government mandated that, oh my god, I would lose it.
Yeah, again, like we can't like this is where there's a massive cultural difference. Like in South America, like when there is like a rather severe change in power, mad shit like that happens, and it's always at the whim of whoever's in charge. Whereas like if that's Ireland, I think the closest thing we get to is that everyone might have to listen to Coldplay once a week or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Or everyone will have a U2 album downloaded onto their phones.
but that would never happen. What are you talking about?
No.
That's nonsense.
Everyone has to sign up for their local GAA team, whether you play for it or not.
I mean, yeah, in fairness, like it's one way to keep the fucking the game going. That wouldn't be the culture. That's our equivalent of military conscription.
Right, okay.
You know, let the Swiss and the Finns like have their year or two in the army. What we have to do is like do a year or two in Limerick or in fucking Offaly or something and try and go for the